Okay, so fantastic. I'm joined by David this afternoon, who owns a brand called Muggy. I've just taken a look at your website and very, very great product you've launched there. So would you like to tell us a bit more about what it is that you do and the business and sort of how long you've been running for?
Yeah, thanks, Sammy, for inviting me along to this chat. Yeah, I'm David Trotter. I'm the owner, inventor of Muggy, Earth's most versatile mug holder.
Mm-hmm.
I always have one here, obviously.
Fantastic. Yes.
Pretty basic.
Yeah.
It's a clever piece of plastic, recycled plastic.
Yeah.
Holds mugs or drinks of any sort. I invented it 11 years ago on a sailing trip coming back from France on a friend's boat. Not my own boat yet. In a storm, and my brief was basically sort the mugs out because they're all breaking in the sink. So, cutting out a lot of the story, I created a prototype. It worked. I started working with a UK manufacturer in Kent, and I still am with them. And so for the last 10 years making this particular iteration of the product. We did have an earlier version, which we launched at the 2011 boat show to the sailing world, and that was my mission at the time, I guess, was to sell a Muggy to every boat in the world. Keep it straightforward. Quite a nice target audience.
Yeah.
But what I found over the last 11 years, by luck, judgment, who knows what it is, that there aren't enough boats in the world for Muggy. Well, there probably are, but there are a lot of other much larger markets that we now sell to. And sailing is probably one of our third, fifth, sixth, seventh markets. We sell Muggies to about 8 markets, I would think, across lots of different platforms. We have retailers, we have distributors to those retailers in the UK. We sell in Australia, New Zealand, the Nordic countries, a few shops in America, and we're online, obviously, with our own website, muggy.co.uk.
Yeah.
Plus the likes of Amazon, etc. And that's been going really well for us for the last kind of 2 years. Right in the middle of the pandemic, we were increasing sales month on month by nice figures. Mm-hmm. So we're concentrating our efforts online more. It's a perfect online product, or it seems to be. Our reviews are off the scale.
Yeah.
People keep saying, "Are you writing the reviews because they're too good?" And basically, what we're finding is that once people know about the product, which expensive operation, especially when you're telling people or selling a product that people don't know exists. People don't know they've got the issue, Muggies, or the issues that Muggy solves. Yeah. Until they realise that they need one, and once they've got one, the stories we get back are quite transformational in some of the more sort of independent living disability areas. Mm-hmm. Where if you're in a wheelchair, if you're using your walker, whether you're young, whether you're old, arthritis, tremor, it has a ridiculous effect on their quality of life. Not something I ever thought of when I was.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was that potentially the market you thought that you would be sort of? Yeah, it's amazing.
If someone had come to me at the boat show and said, "These are great for my yacht, but you should be selling to wheelchair users," I would have thought, "No, I don't think so. This is for the rough, tough, outdoorsy." Yeah. And that's how that's how it's been designed and built. It is pretty bomb-proof. We guarantee them for 88 years.
Oh wow. Machine washable, dishwashable.
Well, they're kind of anything washable you like. The logo Muggy.
Yeah.
With the double G. Quite proud of that.
Yeah.
is also the shape of the product. But
yeah, I was going to say, you got the 4 circles.
That's kind of where the 88 came from, in as much as I wanted to guarantee the product for life, and the average lifespan back then, 10 years ago, was I think 82 and 84 for women.
Yeah.
Things have changed a bit since then, but the 88 is longer than the average lifetime. So basically, you know, if it breaks and you're using it for what we make them for, just carrying drinks.
Yep.
Although you can carry anything you like in them, virtually. Then if it breaks, we'll replace it. And I think I'd like to say we've never had a return from our website. We have had one return from a lady who had an issue with the weight of cups of tea in a muggy, but I don't count that as a real reason for a return.
Sure.
So we don't have a returns policy. And returns from Amazon, which, you know, you kind of expect to get returns, we might have one a month. So once people have got a muggy, they are totally blown away by it generally. More so in some markets than others, but whether, you know, people are buying them for their motorhomes, camping, just around the house, taking tea, you know, up. I mean, I was having a chat with a lady last night who's got builders building half of their house, and she's carrying cups of tea up and down the scaffolding ladder. She's quite active, but she's got one hand on the ladder, the other hand full of 4 cups of tea for the builders. And they think it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't let you talk about anything at all.
No, it's fine. It's really good to hear. I've already found out much more about the market, which I intend. This is really great. It's good that it all came from the concept of just being on a yacht, and now it's. Would you say are you global?
Yeah, well, I like to think we're global.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are selling on the other side of the world through a sailing and motorhome distributor right across New Zealand. I mean, you've caught us at a very, very exciting, I was going to say time, but almost day.
Yep.
We're just about to, well, we are already listing across America and Europe on Amazon.
Yes.
And literally, you know, they're just about to sort of flick the switch. So I'd like to think we're going global sort of tomorrow.
It's definitely a product I can, excuse me for saying this if it's not anyone here, but I can definitely imagine it being on like a QVC or like an American shopping channel with, you know, people doing examples and stuff.
Well, yeah, funnily enough, that's exactly what we did. For Christmas last year. We were on QVC in the States. I think we sold, I don't know, $30,000 or $35,000 in 6 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
And that was kind of our, you know, one of our routes into the States, and we're going to expand on that. You know, we already have with some of the smaller retailers that we're working with in some extraordinary places. You know, you look in the middle of Texas, and then there's a little one-horse town and stop in there. You know, but yeah, I'm hoping the online reach that obviously you get through these channels, which seems to work quite well for us, will work more and more and more as, you know, this little company down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
You know, center of the innovative center of the world. Some fantastic stuff happening down here.
Yeah.
First, the one thing I haven't actually mentioned properly is the fact that we use only recycled material now.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And that's you know, always been a goal of mine over the last sort of 2 to 3 years. We've been incorporating recycled wherever we could, and as reprocessing techniques have got better, they can make purer recycled polypropylene, which is what we need. So we either use fishing nets and ropes.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
So we're using ocean plastic, which currently we can't get from the UK, which is boring. I mean, the nets come from the UK, but they're processed in Europe, which is very frustrating. And I'd like to think that I'm chatting to some people down here, and I'd like to think we could possibly bring the recycling process or regenerative process of the nets and the ropes to within the UK and ideally within Cornwall, so that we can generate the material to then make muggies from the nets and the ropes within the county, which would be really cool.
Wow.
Otherwise, all of our other colours, because we do 6 or 7 different colours, are all made from yours and my recycled plastic that's collected from the curbside.
Okay, sure. Yep.
So, you know, that stuff that goes out in the black boxes, that's reprocessed within the UK. That's reprocessed just outside Oxford. And then we make muggies from that material. So we're 100% recycled material. We guarantee forever. We're changing some of the practices in the factory in Whitstable in Kent to regather heat, use less water, etc., to be as low carbon, as close to carbon neutral, etc., as we can be.
Yeah, fantastic. It's kind of great that it's got the sort of drawback to fishing nets too, because I feel like that brings us back to it being in Cornwall and the centre of Cornwall, which is where it stems from. That's great.
Yeah, there's a couple of local businesses that I've teamed up with. One's called Fishy Filaments. They deal with seine nets, and they're making everything from, I think, sunglasses through to 3D printing filament, based down in Newlyn, and a brilliant organisation. I can't shout them loud enough. It's called Clean Ocean Sailing, based in Greek.
Sure. Okay, Greek, yeah.
And they spend their lives collecting all this rubbish off the beaches around the Cornish coasts, and a lot of that goes back to Exeter, where it's processed into kind of low grade plastic, I think, probably for sort of wheelie bins and furniture stuff, which can use it in its rawer form.
Yeah,
we need something that's a bit more refined, hence we use stuff coming from Oxford.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean everything from Oxford's refined. It means the factory churns it out in a refined sense.
How have you worked the business throughout the pandemic?
Oh
yeah. How has that been for you? So what's the one or two actions you've taken as a result of
that? I think I mentioned briefly, we've continued to grow as a business in revenue turnover throughout the pandemic, which I wouldn't say it's helped us. It might have helped us a little bit at the beginning with certainly perhaps the pub trade, when you could still go to a pub, but with sort of drink service, etc. Because a muggy, very cleverly, hopefully, people are realizing, will carry four pints of beer, or even 4 pints of beer in each hand. So 8 pints of beer, one trip, no contact with glasses, etc. We sold quite a lot to pubs, more so than we had before at the beginning of the pandemic. That's not a major market for us, but trading wise throughout the pandemic continued as normal. I think obviously our retail on the high street sales went down a huge amount. I mean, they must have been affected, but I don't think I really noticed it, because I think we probably had more, well, we certainly had more online sales, because I think everyone had online sales, which only helped with us, both our own website and also other platform. And we sell on other platforms other than Amazon. Both to sort of trade sites, to small retailers or some large retailers.
That's great. I can imagine people just sort of, if you like to say it was on Amazon or on your website and stuff, just sort of sitting there and it actually being a convenience thing which they would have wanted to use through the time. So yeah, it's good that you sort of come out on the other side of it.
Oh, absolutely. I know it was pretty bad for all of us in various ways, but from a business perspective, I don't think it hindered us at all. We had one problem with the factory where they had to shut the factory down because there was COVID within the factory, which was, but no one died, so that was good. And they just tightened up their visiting, and worked around it, but it wasn't an issue for us.
Yeah, that's good. And then, so a bit more about yourself. So have you always been a business owner? Were you previously an employee? What's your sort of your history?
How far back into the last century? No, I have no. The answer is no.
Yeah.
In a very quick nutshell, because people who listen to this probably won't want to hear all this, but I started as a soldier. Well, I'm from Scotland. I'm a very proud Scot, and I was a soldier. Left the army in the mid-80s after the Falklands War.
Wow.
And went into various forms of employment, ranging from motorcycle couriers to carpentry. Then went into the I was always then employed, I guess, in the marketing and events world of the likes of Ford Motor Cars, CoverGirl Cosmetics, and Orange Telecoms.
Oh, yes.
So quite varied. Then I set up a business with my wife to build tree houses.
Okay.
Which we did for about 18 years, I think it was, building big tree houses all around the country, and ran that between us. So that was my foray into self-employment, having not really done it before, I guess. And halfway through that, I invented Muggy, and decided eventually, it takes a while to make the jump, that I've got to do this, otherwise someone else is going to do it. So
yeah, of course.
We went from, an idea to, I suppose we tested it for about a year on a couple of friends' boats. So a bit of prototyping, and then we got to do this. So in about 3 months, we went from prototype to launching it at the boat show, which is a bit fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, it worked.
Like you say, you just have to do it.
Yeah, otherwise someone else will.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of people speaking to me and say, I've got this idea for a new sort of bike light. What do you think? And I say, well, if there's a need, and your product is going to solve that issue or problem, then JFDI, which I won't translate on air, but
I'll jot that one down. Took me a minute, but I got it. Oh, fantastic. And then finally, is there any advice that you would give to somebody that was thinking, well, I guess you've just answered this question, really, JFDI, advice for anybody who was thinking about going into business?
Well, are they starting right at the beginning?
Yeah. So people almost talk about having a business plan in place and making sure that you are you're trying to dot all the I's and cross all the T's from the very beginning, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. Well, perhaps it's well, this is where I distinguish myself, or I try and describe myself as, people ask me, what do you do? And I used to say I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm not an Alan Sugar. I'm not a thingy bob. What's his name? Richard Branson. Although I'm very honoured to have interviewed him twice in a previous life, which was really cool. But and I did in fact employ Alan Sugar once in a previous life as well, and I didn't have to fire him, but I could say that.
Just say you did.
Yeah, but so they're businessmen. I don't think of myself as a businessman, but I run a business, and so if people ask me what I do now, I'm an inventor, which just kind of sparks a bit more of a conversation sometimes. Yeah. But so again, I'm not trying to be an individual, but I'm more of a Dyson than a Branson.
Yeah.
In as much as I'm excited about promoting the product, and we've got the product. Will there be another product? Who knows? That's all in the pipeline, possibly, but I don't really enjoy the business side of it. I know that I've got to sell to stay alive, but I shouldn't perhaps say it to your new budding business owners, but I don't think I've ever really had a business plan. My business plan is to sell more Muggies tomorrow than I did yesterday or today. which is maybe a bit short-sighted, but you can take that into a longer game and say, I want to sell more muggies next year than I did last year.
Yeah, of course. And then hopefully your graph goes up.
Well, at the moment, the graph is going up.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate in as much as I've created a product that, you know, you've always got the Marmite factor or Terry Wogan, isn't it? You know, half the world love it, half the world won't. But I think if you've developed a product, an idea, a service that does what it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, of course.
Then kind of why, you know, and it's at a sensible price, why shouldn't people buy it? Because if it's solving their problem, now I'm not trying to sell a muggy to everybody. And I've got a lot of my friends who look at muggy and say, well, yeah, when am I going to use it? Mm-hmm. And they're just not in the right frame of mind, target audience or moment. But, you know, once they're staggering around with their Zimmer frame, guess what? You know, it's not only the elderly, but, you know, whether you're in a motorhome, at a festival, on the beach, in your car, or whatever, it does solve an issue that people have. They may not have realized yet that they've got that issue.
Yeah.
And so I'm very positive and not even hopeful. You know, I kind of know that we're going to sell a lot of these to a lot more people than we already currently have. And I was going to say the future's bright, the future's orange. But
yeah.
I'm
wow, that's taking me back.
Wow, that was one of my earlier times. But it's fun. You know, I wake up every day and I'm dying to get to work. But I'm lucky to be in Cornwall, to be able to work in Cornwall with the fastest internet speed I've ever had coming in through the window of this little cottage here. So very fortunate. I understand that, but you know, I can work anytime, anywhere. But make sure you give time for yourself. However hard you've got to work hard when you set a new business up. If we're talking new business, and don't spend every waking hour on it.
Fantastic.
That sounds a bit statesman-like, but I don't mean it.
No, that's great. Fantastic. Right.
Try and make stuff in the UK if you can.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned Made in the UK, but they're a brilliant organisation that I work with. There's about 2,000 manufacturers in the UK, and you know, we promote making stuff here. Why not?
Right.
Keep the money in our economy and export it and charge other people for it.